Order so pa ya ban betua ya wachire mu security agencies ni nyina ya no sum nsam ya hwese bechechire mu ade amamo
nyina ne yede ato wono na hye ne soma ye ise time FM food bazaar we on say ye celebrate Ghana month amamre ni amane anuane aso to bankunu nkruma akwale bonsa angrafo de namu fufuo ni aponche nkrakra sante akan na no namu sanso na bi wo honoma adibi eto ohun saa enuane no bi wo honoma so akonkran mamu a wamode no akwa nkra dokono na no so ni na machire infantefo infante dokono ese enuane mu asoto enti yesi we no enyasem ketwa kra oye food vendor kwa we interested a bomodin na saa experience enuane no experience we tutumrika na bra ahanum na be register said ye be ya also edane duru ha be kire enema utimi eyo so hu Friday March 13 and a deadline into bian tubrika na wo ma register Infinix Smart 20 no so aba we no kama pa Infinix Smart 20 64 gig ROM plus 4 gig RAM 128 gig ROM and 4 gig RAM bomade na uza enkabe ne kotobi na ebeboa kama pa BBD essential wa yeni sunie we no yete ekote ho wote na wo twekakrakra peja mote na twekakrakra obanwani se ade no emu ayese take dudu fe otimi di wuram suntum na emu ayese den BBD essential oil kokkrafo no teto kokkrafo omba se ni nyina se eboa over 60 years brother betobi no atimi adi count we dey so be frɛ 0502 011421 cosmara baby hobra time fmfia nso ubenya bi na wato FM na ke Yeboah abrewana na pesemaka menim
Abena Agyekumwaa Nadia
afa yanko nsem no Ghana mra hye bedwafie ho ene ade ani ekire mu na adom kuma ba no dani yewura Alexander Fenyomakin wo say mra hye bedwani ewa futu abaton pesua so wo de atodwa wo kyese wo hwe aban policies ahodo de agu akwan mu anipa nyina ka ho asem no a nipa ya de osaye wo se wo kan wakan bio se opening case Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia onu ninyuma ne policies ena abawe afa wo madura no a wo mo ede eje nsamrane no wo ka se ebeya yemfa de nasiese no fatane yemfa ma no na wo munyai se wo mo yewura Baumia di mo emo na baso no na akwanya no mo ahye no mo de abesere ena mo tu saa na mo no we ensem a yewura Alexander Fenyomakin odi tuja.
The MPP told Ghanaians the truth about their country's finances. Even when that truth was brutal, even when we knew our opponent would use it against us. And indeed, they used it against us. The very people who now stand in this chamber, taking vows for a recovering economy, are the same people who stood on platforms and told Ghanaians that the IMF program was a betrayal. They mocked our fiscal consolidation. They described our revenue reform. They derided our revenue reform. They weaponized our sacrifice to win elections. And now they have the audacity, the sheer audacity to stand here and claim the harvest of seeds they never planted, through rain they never endured, on soil they never tended. Mr. Speaker, that is not governance. That is opportunism dressed in a borrowed robe. And the same applies to gold. The gold for oil reserve program that this administration is marketing to Ghanaians as a signature innovation was never invented by this government. It was conceived, designed, and launched by the NPP administration, spearheaded by the former Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia. Mr. Speaker, it was our policy, our framework, our initiative. What this administration has done is to take that program, rebrand it, put their name on the door, and present it to the world as though they thought of it themselves. We hereby submit that, Mr. Speaker, it is time the government gave to Bawumia what belongs to Bawumia.
Asemi eno penikesi yewa mama yarga wakase ensema openikesi Fenyomakin kedie no krabie ni we wo mu asemi de okoka ne hen wasi we no inaccurate na chese enye papa enye no kra figures ne nsemu a waka no enye no kra ne nyina fa State of the Nation address mampani na no de kotu dwa no na ne yemra hwedwafo wo mo nso defe no ho chema menchi ne ade nti we kan ye no ena mama yarga se enye no kra.
Before I go on to the text of my closing debate on the State of the Nation as presented by the President, let me just correct some inaccuracies in the presentation of my colleague. He said that the president did not say anything about the plight of our soldiers in the Middle East because of the conflict. What he has forgotten is that the president delivered the sonar on the 27th of February. On the 27th of February. And America and Israel attacked Iran on the 28th. A day after, how could the president be addressing this house on a matter that had not occurred?
Awushafoti wey ensema no perikasi no so wode ya to dwana one say enra deputy finance minister honorable Thomas Ampem nyako wana okọ Ghana ma shibje fia wode ensema do kokoto dwa ne ensema no waka nyina yetia wa se payment bia wo mo ye abandada ne ye 2024 mu ho no nyamia ni mkro ne be 4.4 billion wo mo twetwe sika bi om twetwe duplicate twewe ne twebio ne ade ne nyina ka ho bi ana ma niema nkoye anu asemu a wakoka e no mrahebedani awowo achim odan odimonyamfo Alexander Kwasi akwa odi atu jase sa auditor general report areas no ene ho nsensem no say ye propaganda pa aban no peso yo digu abandada no ho fi
auditor general report ye the parliament ye retable na ye di ama say public account we were be reading as a statement and for us public account city be public sabre ni yekum na audit bia no wo ye auditor oma obi kwan e ma ni yi anom but such statement we ba ye e find this one ye dey abeto dwa responses no enimbi one of the responses are made to media amount and say agenda 111 ye ya pencil report ye dey ma the current government as 15 contractors ye terminate your contract obviously most of them no ye pre-finance ye mobilization and we know for various reasons and the terminate 15 contracts for various and you say bia obu ono ma na eco slow obu ono ma na assassin 70 ebia oje ni payment no oye adwuma no ana manso aba assassin no ho ne ade various 15 of those contracts obviously abansika o mansika o dey say and me pa say when new information in fact o share percentage of sikano a aban e dey abeto dwa ne ade is about 11%. Yen we can place it on record say ba aban mu no ye audit say no there were about 50% of some of these cases ye ba aban mu no 50%. But this is not the time where ye mu ye we into yes but I'm establishing at this time just to change the narrative send ye be ya Ghana public no ebe hu say koko kwiani no a masa threaten say mo be san ti ni sika so no
Awushafoti we ya no hiyo penikesi wono so wode ba ya nwumre no nsia kase bo ene wasogitu a wotie ne ento aso
abse mu nyina monim samsa na nsenta mu na wone ye wo pepa se wo mudom ye bambo dwumako no mekire asrafo adwuma na immigration fo afe na courts control ni ade no ye ma kwan se obi ankoto form so ene omde osie ya woyo na ewie mpanfo sa bekire mu da ya wo momra na chese wo mutimi meye vetin eno ho asamo no wo mkoye ema de dinchi no ahye ba ye kura kire no ye bebo mu amane ema woni eto anananom se de wo mu prepare mu odin eno wie ma mpanfo ya sa ye so mu tu ahyeda o matu ahyeda ye bibia wie na na wansa Ghana de bi mu kire mu a na da ben ena de ne be ba ye fo wo mu ye mfo wo mu eno me ne ade no ena eye manso afam wo hwe sa eye engitahudie no so no no nyamfo mu ntaka mu barak ye bambo nsensam so no wono na ne wone ensentrefo di ahyemu a wo kire nsemu di akire yem na no ochem chese anka Ghana se de ye dodo adro no nka hu hia pa se ewo se yenya asrafo no mo do so mo chen be 100,000 ne akirem na so no bibinti no ene yesi kasem so esano ntin wo se okekabo mu a personal sa ye wo ma Ghana mu no aye 49,000 pesos na just say ya ba from pa na so wasi nyina nkamfu ani sika ye de tua wo mo ka no kekabo mu a eduru 13 billion ne akirem wasi immigration for afa be 18,000 Ghana prison service so okeka wo adwumayefo ni bomu am be 14,000 afa so na court control for afa be 3,000 ne akirem na wasi okeka wo mo nyina esikabo fire service for afa be 17,000 prison services for so no afa be 14,000 ye chirem wo se okeka ni nyina boma wo mu sika ye de twa wo mu ka no na duru 13 billion Ghana cedis ya enye sika wa na no no chem chesem ke wo pepa se obi opese odom bia no nke betimi amana dom bie na so hwie botom a yensa entimi nso ye chiaja de ye sika nso ya kwankro enti amana ye bibie ho ema aban ko nanimu a enko na so wose ni nyina mo no aban de niema bi te se eye zoom police no mu aba watimi afa nipa ne bo so mbo be 5,000 ye chire afa so no yetime de eye fire service for so kra no eye community fire service for aba eno so yafa be 5,000 ye chire wose ni nyina nkamfo no e chire aban pepa wo wose obetimi ade ahye ye bambo no mu kena no wose nka yeyele nka be ye yi a ka anya hwe no nka wose ye fa nipa no dododo nanso so ne sika sam no ase de odi nka aka ye no eno na sese de aduri.
The police force that we have, the number that we have, just as I mentioned, 49,000 plus, immigration about 18,000 plus, fire about 17,000 plus, prisons about 14,000 plus, narcotics control about 3,000 plus. When you put all of them together, they are less than 100,000. They are less than 100,000. But even that, the wage bill on them is about 13 billion. So if the resources were there, I mean, I would have been the happiest person if we were able to recruit about 500,000 more security people. But let's be practical. Will our economy be able to absorb that? We all know that practically that is not possible. If you have a police of 50,000, can you really take 130,000 and add to an existing 49,000? So this is where we find ourselves, and I want to plead with the rank and file of our youth to appreciate that. That's why we introduce a number of other measures that we are hoping into the future may even help us as a way of screening them.
Awusanti eyon monyafo muntaka Mubarak nene na mutie
na yen konsem fufuro mu an won se Ghana no mobeka yi a ade ba ko a yen nyina ye ne twa ekoso wo wiase fa na nyina eye entokwa yi amanom ne so eye US and Iran na fe Israel wo mo ntokwa sebi emianim no kranie ha dwe pa na ntokwa de ba ye no Iran fo no Ghana sei se ekoba se US for wo base anom so mpese mo to bomb eko Iran for no so ba to bi e de abagana ha na sa ade no na abusia okuje to abla kwase ha Ghana ha no enye for rent ye mfa Ghana ma han se de Ghana ma han se obi am bebo ni base na UK for bebo base America for bebo base France bebo base ha na mo ba be gina akomo ntokwa na mo komo ntokwa o mede isi no yemma etubra no su titintin gadigidi gadam gungungum na se Ghana bebo bugumu a aho ni ye ne dai enti de atudwa a wachechi mu wakan semi ewo adwumade sunku bi ekoso enano dwadai na wode sansemu nyina atudwa na wo tesew enya de se ye be soso Chatham House think tank omujumedi ekoso na yura samolo kuje to ablakwa ugina hokan.
Many other strategic partners, including the UK, a number of Gulf states. We do these things in our strategic national interest, and we are also careful to draw the line. And so there's a red line. We do not accept military bases in our country. And I'm sure that what is happening in the Middle East now vindicates Ghana's position. We have historically prevented Western powers from establishing military bases in our country. And I believe that those who initially were not sure why Ghana was very stern about this position now appreciate that. Having said that, we also take the view that any cooperation, any intervention must be on a case-by-case basis, and there has to be express approval. So the recent attacks in Nigeria, the Nigerians will confirm to you that they invited the Americans, and they also reached out to Ghana to collaborate. Yes, both the Nigerians and the Americans. So that's how we are playing this out. Sovereignty has to be respected. Territorial integrity has to be respected. You must be invited, and we must all agree on the scope of the intervention, because we do not want this to lead to another Venezuelan situation or some other, geopolitical matter, because sovereignty is important, territorial integrity is important. We must know exactly what the scope is, what you are coming to do, the nature of the intervention. It is very, very important. I mean, our citizens will not forgive us, and legitimately so, if we just take away their sovereignty and allow external elements to just come in and do whatever they want.
enti we sema wodwa na yura okuja to abla kwa na wode atudwa yefa no nto na yenko edan han ho nsensem mu manfo han edan pa manfo han edan na edan ye han 2 years bo se dia bo trim 10,000 15,000 etimi de bo bi trim chamber ho self contain yes chamber rade bro video chamber ho ade say chamber and ho na bro no ni kana dey ade chamber ho eti chamber ho self contain ubo say yo me pe toilet kitchen and bath okwa ya dia body trim yes 15,000 2 years 20,000 2 years 10,000 2 years na edan ya obi o ne de beso pass obenya 10,000 na renew no wasi fiera nyame anim no kranie mesira umi nya hu me bobo na wo de enkaje ba busumi tua 6 man wo se wo de ne ko prison wo de muntie
de dikan em se mekasa me pese ade me bia no me pese me bibia out of law wo ya de ne ma otumi a me nkofa wo de ma brenye mra be de mra se ne mra ne ka no na pese yenye no ene me kasa President Mahama of 5 years me kwa na yan wo me na me chiro 25 65 say wo did rent advance exceeding 6 months wo be dem utimi dem ne ko to say ko to jina so say wan yi it does not matter say dan wan kwa to you the law is the law though the law is in the bosom of the judges but they are supposed to interpret the law. Two says also one see the space. We see Ghana so mra. No see that but we see as me cheche. Me a philanthropist in the cheche dan. But say obi toka
the moment you commercialize it.
Obi toka no ku see GPL to one cheche say Indiana. Na o ma hine car no na to man. Na on the mra so say we come from Kaso to Kaneshi. GPL ji say and odi so. We dey also down say na me to me blog me enye. Ma me no ton wachi no. O ton the bills ton da say no. Ye ji the tax no na to da say ma no ye ji the tax no do. The landlord na say wo the dan hane residential property so hwemu 8% ma ban
abusafonti wase mra na ho na sa mra we kura ba na yamampani jem no 5 years ana se mra na che na wo tumi be na wo se efiewura kojo busuburu na wo si twa 2 years advance a wo ba kwa ka che kojo busuburu se wo mpene na wo de ne court anadwo na kojo betu tie ne na efiewura for mu news ena aba no
njima mena na viendi de mo kaka na me abusia ya to akase aba no so ade amamu na ye baba nkwantene akotetegu ya eno ewo nkrampumpuni mantem na nsantam ne ye baba amamane se police ni ba bi ho akadwam adani a wakọ bo eye taxi driver bituo ewo tetegu ye no ben waja eye montene so wankrampumpuni mantem na de tie no sa asam no akopie mu ewo eye adabraka district court ema wo mugusa wo mudi asamo no na mranimu ni a wo twitwade age eye gift opom eye yewra Raymond Feli na wakosenka wakopre bail di amano ana eye court ne se da bi wontimi mani bail ntomoto asam na hye eye bosome foforo mekira match bosome nimu ana matu asam no ede ahye match bosome de toso edio 24th of March ana matu asam no ede ahye na kasa ne nyambo no wansa abranti a yekumuni ne ho kafo abrantie Edward awuku awusu ne ho kani ene yekohia no okọ atomane di nkomo bi de kireye ene wotem chese nyame obetua police ni ba ne ka no wonyansa ne fam kwa ne kampet wa hyase atua ne ka no wakeka ya kosi se police ni ba ne bebre esanse de wode aye no wate ne nsuru mu pa na wankasa hwesa abaya so no so no na ne kuru nka no ho na sese obeba brabo obehu ne sei enti abranti awato ananum siadri ne yire nimpon ana wokasa se ade na ye ne ya nti ensem a woka nyina ye ya wonsem a woka ede egu police ni ba ne so
na homrade ba obuase east so na hwe ngumesua so ha no mo kire se ɔmo dan no ɔmo tim ni nye ɔmo pɛ office foforo ye ba sisi a
Omadishe Filetano Heba Center Ayarisabia Papa wo modro sayadie nane woda fom no ena midi ho dansie yo Filetano Heba Center esa yadie bi ti se atwenu mu yadie asthma